Alright, we now have the rewind power, which we will be able to abuse, but first we have to make our way through this hallway. With a well-timed jump, you can actually jump off of the ground there, as you saw me do as it was falling. So I'll see if I can show that again. Just like that. It'll take you a few tries to get used to the timing, but it's pretty forgiving. These falling pieces of floor can be a little weird. Sometimes the prince will like teleport to grabbing a ledge and stuff. It's kind of strange. When you get down to the end here, instead of wall running, you can corner jump like so, and then you can continue in here. The stables has our first rewind trick, as well as one of the most difficult in the game. For some reason, I find the faster you do it, the more likely it is to work. So I'm going to rush through it so you can see what it looks like, and then I'll explain it. So that's what the trick looks like. Now I will go back and we'll go through it step by step. So you want to come over here to this rock that I'm standing on. You want to tap the analog stick to get the prince right up against the wall. Jump to the right, jump, rewind to the moment you landed on the wall, wall run, and because I went slow it didn't work, but when you do it quickly, you'll actually get to wall run higher than you otherwise would. You can see there I wasn't close enough to the wall, which is what caused that to happen. Looked like that time too. There we go. So that one takes some practice. If you're moving at full speed and not explaining it on a tutorial, it's really not that bad to get, but just make sure you're really far up against the wall. If you just run to the wall, the prince actually stops kind of far away from it. That's why I said to tap the analog stick to get right up next to it. In doing that trick, we accidentally skipped a load trigger, so we're going to have to turn around. And now we have to do a little bit of an awkward jump. And if you get it wrong, that happens. You just go back to where you landed and try again. And if you don't land on that burnt wood, you die, as you saw there. There we go. I landed just on the edge of the burnt wood. So the angle on that is a little bit tricky. Again, something that requires practice. We'll just continue along here. That cutscene we just hit, that was the load trigger. So now we're good to go. We're coming up on our first fight, and before I enter the room I'm going to go over some terminology and how fighting works in this game. For most of the fights in this game, in fact all of them except this one, we will have the ice power, but for right now what you need to know is square. I'll use PlayStation buttons because that's the controller I'm using. Square is a basic sword attack. Triangle is kick. We'll almost never use triangle. Holding square gives you a charged attack, and the game has a built-in combo system where every 5 hits the combo resets. This is important because the 5th hit, if it is a charge attack, will deal extra damage and will slash 3 times instead of 2, and it looks like this. And we can use that to our advantage. As you saw, you can build your combo with charge attacks exclusively, with basic attacks, or with a combination thereof. So now we'll go ahead and continue on to the fight. We're going to skip by the enemies for now. We could skip them all together if we wanted, but we actually need some XP for upgrades later. We're going to kill these guys exclusively with charge attacks. It takes 2 hits of charge attack to kill each of them, unless you get a full power charge attack, which I got knocked out of my combo, so I'm not going to get it. But all 3 strikes of the power of the full power charge attack will instantaneously kill those guys. Now you want to line yourself up between that rock on my left foot and the plank of wood on my right foot. You want to line your head up with the intersection of those 4 bricks, just like I have it right now. You want to jump towards them and do a rewind trick, just like that. And now we will continue forward. If you recall earlier, I mentioned jumping off the edge of a button being important. We're at that moment now. By jumping off the edge of this button, you can actually skip all the traps in this hallway, like so. It's really not that hard to do as long as you slip off the button like I did. So practice that a few times if you need to, but you probably won't have to. We're actually not going to use the curtain here. We're going to turn around. The developers didn't intend for you to turn around here though, so for some reason, every once in a while you die if you turn around here. I didn't that time. Sometimes you hit invisible terrain that doesn't exist and you just fall out of the air. In that case, rewind and try again. I've never seen it happen twice in a row. We're going to roll, jump, and do a rewind trick. This time we are going to use the curtain. Then we're going to rush past some enemies and get our first sarcophagus. Sarcophagi give you experience, blue orbs, and health. They're quite useful, although we only get a couple of them in this run. One of the few unskippable cutscenes here. Usually a good time to grab a drink and relax a bit. Alright, we're gonna position ourselves between this torch and this beam about as close to the middle as you can get. Do a wall run. Now you can try and find this location all on your own, which is what I used to do, but you have a high chance of failure unless you're better than me, which you might be. But I've come up with a setup that works every time. You come up against this wall, turn around, take one step, do a full wall run, and jump. It's a little bit slower, but like I said, it works every time, so use that if you want, or if you can figure out a better way on your own, go for it. These traps are easy to avoid. There's pretty much no way to miss the cycle. If you skip one of them, you skip all of them. So this room has traditionally given me a lot of trouble. Recently, I have figured out a way to make it pretty reliable. First of all, you want to jump without walking here because it lets you land lower on the curtain. Then we're going to ride this wall until the prince's arm is just past that loop on the gate. We're going to do a wall run. You have to tap multiple times to get up here. If you tap once, he'll just fall. We're going to stand up, and we're not going to move at all. If you turn around manually, you will not make it back to the other side. However, if you press back and wall run at the same moment, the prince will basically teleport straight into wall running, and that will give him enough distance. Just like that. Now this next part is time sensitive and very hard to do compared to most of the things in this game. So I'm going to explain real quick and then I'm just going to have to do it. You see on the left there, there's a gap in the fence where the intended route for the level is. I'm going to go about to the midpoint of that, if not a tiny bit to the right of the midpoint. I'm going to do the animation where the prince acts like he's about to fall off, and then I'm going to hold the camera all the way to the left this whole time and do a really awkwardly angled jump. And if I do it right, I will dive and grab onto a ledge on the other side. So here we go. Just like that. And let's see if I can rewind and do that again. I probably can't. Hey, what do you know, I got it. So yeah, that's that skip. It is not very easy. It takes some muscle memory and a good deal of practice. But I wish you the best of luck on it. If it's giving you too much trouble, you can just do that room the intended way. It is quite a bit slower, but it's not gonna like make you minutes behind or anything. This room has 2 tricks, neither of which are very hard, but both are very precise. So as soon as we skip the cutscene, I'm going to line the prince's head up with that pillar thing in the center of that giant gear device there. I'm going to press forwards and wall run at the same time. That's going to be the first trick. We'll go ahead and see that. And that happens if you line it up correctly. Now I'm going to run to the edge of this platform we're on. I'm going to wait on a mechanism to come down, and then I'm going to try and do a rewind trick off of it, although the angle can be kind of hard to hit sometimes. Okay, it looks like I got it. I did in fact get it, so that's nice. Neither of those tricks are bad, and you know, I've never had this happen until I started trying to record this tutorial. That's the second time I've had this happen while I was recording. I think it happens when you leave it on this screen for an extended period of time. Usually you would not die there, so let's try that all again. So yeah, this is what you would usually see, and instead of jumping, you cancel this last pull, let you drop down. Yeah, I think if you sit on the cutscene skip screen in this room, it in the background, that it secretly keeps all of these gears moving, and I think that's what causes you to die right there. But in a normal run, you would never see that happen. If you do that at the correct speed, then you should have everything line up for you just fine. Unfortunately, this room we're in now, there's absolutely nothing you can do to speed this up, and you have to take a lot of it slow, because dying like that wastes a lot of time. Now would be a good time to go over upgrades, I guess, since we have nothing else to do. You'll notice I have an upgrade available in the top right corner of the screen. I try to minimize how much time we spend in the upgrade menu to save time, so we actually won't need any of our upgrades for quite a while. In fact, by the time we need them, we'll have enough XP for 3 upgrades, so we're just going to get all 3 of them at once. As you saw there, if your timing works out, you can actually get a consecutive jump trick on those ledges, and that can let you one cycle those, but it's pretty rare that you get to do that. This room has an interesting skip. We're just gonna roll into the corner here. You want to be as close up against this left wall as you can. Wall run, jump, and jump. And the game thought we were sliding down that curtain and let us change direction mid-jump. So we were able to skip half of the puzzle. Then we're just gonna roll past these guys and continue on our merry way. If you go too fast here, you lose. This room has another one-time glitch. We're going to turn around and jump on over here. You want to line yourself up with this beam of wood and do a rewind trick. If you noticed, I jumped off the end of that plank of wood. That was my visual cue. So here you want to continue to the next pole, and you want to see the prince's right hand move 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to jump backwards, do a wall run, jump, and then we're going to mash jump. And that results in this glitch, invisible pillar glitch. This is the only place in the game we know of you can do it. And basically, in a normal run, when you're moving at full speed, the second you get this, you would hold back and press jump again to do that. So yeah, you just mash jump, and when the prince's feet come in contact with the top of the pillar, if you happen to jump at the correct time, he will do that. And it's pretty consistent, like you get it almost every time. Now we're going to get our second sarcophagus. You can jump off this curtain a little bit early, kind of above those holes in the wall. Again, we're just going to jump to break this one. I may have forgotten to mention that on the first one. You're supposed to use a charge attack, but for some reason the prince jumping also breaks them, so we do that since it's faster. Once you get that one, you're going to come up here, and you see this door frame has ridges on it. You want to get the prince's head between the 2 outermost ridges and jump and do a rewind trick. If you positioned it right, you'll run inside the wall and hit that button. We're just going to keep going. If you need to see that again, obviously you can go back. The glory of YouTube. Do the same trick we did earlier where we jump off those as they're falling. It's just all about your timing. Same with this one out here. Now you can do a corner jump right here, but I cannot get it consistently, so I don't try. Good for you if you can. We're coming up on the first boss now, and as with a lot of things in this game, we're going to skip it. There are 2 strats for this boss, a fast one and a safe one. I personally do the safe one, that's the one I'm going to show you, and I'll explain the fast one afterwards. We're going to wait on the boss to charge us, jump out of the way. You see the prince is standing next to this triangle on the ground. When I unpause, I'll look down so you can see it. You want to stand on that triangle, that's your visual cue. Then you want to do a rewind trick on the wall I do. That triangle right there. Hopefully I didn't wait too long. Do a rewind trick, and I got it. So if you do that correctly, you'll end up here. The fast strat is to do all of that before he charges, in which case the camera will lock onto him and you will not be able to see what you're doing. You can get the skip like that, but I find that I only get it maybe 1 out of 3 or 4 tries, so I end up saving a lot more time if I do it the safe way. So as you saw there, I was able to jump through that cutscene and carry my momentum, but I stopped because I wanted to mention there's a glitch that you can perform right here, and I've managed to do it one other time at the very beginning of the game, but I have never been able to replicate that version of it. We call this the leg percent glitch. So basically, to start off, you jump through this wall. Why can I jump through this wall? Well, no one knows, but you end up like this. And I won't do the glitch now because you have to restart the game to get rid of it. Quitting to the main menu doesn't phase it at all. But it essentially causes the prince to quite often be invisible. Sometimes you can only see his legs, his hair is all messed up, and he doesn't take fall damage sometimes. It's very bizarre, and I will link a video in the description that shows it in detail. But yeah, there's that. And I will go ahead and kill myself here so that we can get back to where we're supposed to be. We're just gonna keep going here. We're just gonna ignore these enemies. You want to go into this next section with at least 3 blue orbs, if not more. So I haven't mentioned yet, when you reset checkpoints, you automatically get 2 blue orbs, and you guarantee the very next vase you break will give you another one. We'll use that a lot in this run to restock for clipping, which is something we're going to get access to very soon. And that is actually the reason we're going to need at least 3 coming into this next room. Ideally, you'll only use 2 of them. The third one's more like a backup. For these gear puzzles, I am afraid I have no real tips for you other than watch what I do and memorize it. There's really no like fancy acronym or something that lets you easily memorize them. You pretty much just have to do it over and over again. After we skip the next cutscene is when I choose to get my upgrades. We've had the XP ever since we got that last sarcophagus. So right now, we're in an unskippable cutscene, and I choose to go ahead and grab these 3 upgrades then. Energy 5, Whirlwind, and Ice Blast. Ice Blast lets us kill things real fast, and Whirlwind lets us clip through walls. We're actually going to do a little bit of an unusual clip with it first. One of the least reliable clips in the game, but it's getting better with time. First, we have to do this gear puzzle. We turn the far right one clockwise. We turn the far left one clockwise twice. The far right one clockwise again. The far left one counterclockwise twice. The far right one clockwise 2 more times. The middle one counterclockwise twice. The far left one counterclockwise twice. The middle one counterclockwise once. And the far left one clockwise once. When I was learning this puzzle, I basically wrote down which directions you turn which thing, and then I just did it like 20 times in a row. So that's my advice to you, is just do it a lot. If you come up with a better way, please let me know. So there are a few places in this game where for some reason you get a different camera angle depending if you've reset your checkpoint or not. This is one of those places, and because your movement here needs to be very accurate, you're going to want to reset your checkpoint, because if you're practicing this outside of running, you're going to be reloading your checkpoint, so you're going to memorize how to do it with the reloaded checkpoint camera. So as soon as you see the autosave icon in the bottom right, there it is, load checkpoint, skip the cutscene, and then we're going to jump to the right, walk in a almost straight line. We're going to walk around an enemy a bit. Walk almost in a straight line to the corner of a door. Then we're going to turn the other direction and whirlwind 2 times. The timing on this needs to be really accurate because we're manipulating enemy AI. So I'm going to go ahead and try and do it at least once. I'll edit out my failed attempts. I usually can get this in 3 or 4 tries. I'm going to go ahead and try and do it once, and then I'll come back and explain it again. Alright, so there you saw I got it. Whirlwind clipping usually allows us to clip through walls and doors. This door, however, is particularly difficult to get through, so we manipulate that charging enemy into helping us get through the other half of it. So I will reload again. You jump right, walk in a straight line, get into this corner, delay a amount of time, and then you whirlwind twice, and as you saw, it didn't work. But that is the setup, and basically what it comes down to at the end of the day is, are your whirlwinds accurate, and did you delay the correct amount of time? See there, I didn't delay nearly long enough. The first time I failed on camera, I messed up my whirlwinds, so it's a very accurate trick, but it does save quite a bit of time if you get it. So if I don't get it on this attempt, I will most likely edit to me getting it again, just to save time. I would also like to mention, as I said, with how hard that trick is, if you can't get it, or if you can't get it reliably enough for it to save time, I think you have 4 retries before it officially stops saving time. If you can't get it at least once in 4 tries, then you're welcome to do the casual strategy for that room, which is to use your ice power to kill everything with charge attacks. We'll see our first ice fight here in a little bit, and you'll get a better idea of how that works. We finally get to the second portal, which will give us the ability to solidify water. Does that mean freeze it into ice? We have no idea. The game is very vague. But essentially, it'll let us climb on water.